Hello, welcome to Across the Park, a podcast on location at the Ver Clothing HQ. Very, very smart. Thanks to Ver for letting us use their offices this afternoon. Myself, Ian Bills and Gary Judge, talking all things Everton outside of the relegation zone.
Oh my God.
Everton beating a team away from home and Everton beating a team 5-1. First of all, did you see that coming?
No, absolutely not. It was a brilliant performance. I didn't see it coming. I think all the previews I'd done, and I'd done a few of them, not only on our own podcast, with other podcasts, even informal previews where you're talking to mates about it and fans, and I had a point at best in my head, or even on the little calculator we'd all done of how we're going to pick our
bonus
points. So, yeah, it was a bonus point for me if we were going to get anything, but I definitely didn't see that coming. The only thing going into it, I was sending the other Blues before we played. What was the last away game?
Leicester?
Yeah, saying about Dean Smith's record against us. Sean Dyche actually has a really good record going into it against Brighton, and we had a decent record going into it. So there's a few little, but then you don't take nothing from that considering how poor our season's been. So yeah, massive shock to everyone, wasn't it? Not just Everton fans.
Do you know what? It sounds mad. Now, we spoke about the Villa game at home a few weeks ago, and the negative impact of starting 11 being brought out before the game. You saw Mikalenko, Godfrey, Morpay, players that maybe were
the Fulham game, you mean?
Fulham, not
yeah,
Villa. Fulham, sorry, Fulham.
I was thinking,
Fulham, yeah,
it was a while ago, that.
But the opposite happened. You see Yerry Mina in the team, you see James Garner, you see Nathan Patterson. Yeah. Everyone got a boost from that, didn't he?
They did, yeah. I mean, James Garner was funny, wasn't it? Because I was disappointed to not see an Garner in there, but I understand it, and I wasn't worried about Garner being in there because I think he deserved his place in that team. But yeah, you're right. Yerry Mina for me was the big one. It ticked so many boxes, and I've said to a few people since, it was a bit of a win-win one for Dyche. We're going to come back onto that in a bit about praising him for getting him in. But you know what I mean? If he would have played poorly, he'd have been like, told you. But then he plays well, and it's
Michael.
But he plays well, and it's like, yeah, I was waiting. You know what I mean? I was taking my time, biding my time, putting him in the right game, making sure he was fit, all that type of stuff. I mean, he hasn't come out and lapped up the praise, but you know what I mean? I think it was a bit of a win-win situation for him. I
think it was giving him bad PR, the Keane stuff, because Dyche, we'd done the instant match reaction after the Newcastle game, and I said, not Judgy, I said I think the manager was making some mistakes now, and it was scaring me a little bit. And Michael Keane thing was very much Benitez Rondon, where you're like, how's this? There must be better. And the Keane thing was starting to get we know Yerry Mina is better. So how long is it going to take you? Is it going to be too late when you realise that Yerry Mina is a better defender?
Do you know when in his defence though, and I don't know this for a fact, but I can just imagine it. Can't imagine he's a great trainer. No. Do you know what I mean? He seems like the type of player. Yeah, he seems like the type of player who just thrives on that match day. I mean, I'm a big fan of reading managers' autobiographies, and the amount of autobiographies I read from past managers up to present, they talk about players who just come alive of a match day, but they're so poor in the training ground that it's so difficult as a manager to then, to pick them for the first time or to continue to pick them when the team's not playing well and they're training so poorly. But he just seems like one of them. And I guess he's one of them, based on his injury record, that he almost can't afford to put it in training because he's always that one step away from breaking, isn't he?
Yeah. How good do you think he actually was, Mina? Now, I don't think he won that many duels. I do think he was under pressure a lot. He got booked on a duel in the first 25 minutes. But then I think he played very well. How do you see his performance?
It was assured, and that's what you get from Yerry Mina. No matter how poorly the team are playing or how poor, he's just got this amazing self-confidence and self-belief, hasn't he? He's having himself, which I think in that type of position, goalkeeper, centre-back, centre forward, them three positions, you want someone who really has got inner belief, self-confidence, and I think he just oozes it. And I think the other players kind of feed off it. And I've said it a few times this week. I feel like the forward players had a bit more belief to run that extra 10 yards forward because they thought, you know what, we've got someone at the back here who will foul if he has to. Yeah. Like that one where he volleys that, under, where he's almost got the half turn on him. He thought, F this, and just volleys him. I'm not having it. You're not going nowhere. And then he kicks it away and he gets that early booking, which I think to fans who don't know Yerry Mina or maybe neutrals are thinking, you don't want your centre-back getting booked that early. I mean, has he been sent off for Everton? I know he hasn't played that many games. Not been sent off, has he?
I
don't think if he has, I don't think.
I'm sure we'll know in the comments.
Yeah, look, I'm sure someone will definitely correct us, and I'm sure we'll look after it. But I certainly can't remember him getting sent off in a game that's important. You know, you think, he's killed us there. I think he's just, again, self-assured. He's clever in the way that he defends. He's a winner.
And that's what we need in that team. People who are going in with the attitude of, it's only Brighton. We'll beat these. Yeah. Opposed to, without saying, some names.
And what was a great shot? I think you sent it to me or you put it in our Everton group on Twitter where you see him jump at about 10 foot, heading it. And Tarkowski's just looking at him going, that's boss, that.
Some players would have been going into these games and these runner games nervous. I don't think Eddie Meany gives you nerves. I think he walks up and goes, this is a game of football and I'll win.
Yeah.
And it's very, I think you got a good point there, what you're saying. I do want to ask you about Nathan Patterson. I thought he was really, really good. I think maybe the manager, he's put him in ahead of Holgate, so it's not even like you can't say he doesn't trust him. I think it's took a long time. Maybe.
But he's the only one who's not been given a chance, isn't he? Let's be honest.
It took a long time to get him in. I thought he played well. But what I do want to ask you about is how important is, despite the goals, Dominic Calvert-Lewin to how we're playing?
He's everything. And I was on a certain other podcast. I was on a Liger podcast, which I'll be on a lot more in the future last week, and I got killed. The producer, they've got a producer on there, sent it round on a reel everywhere that I thought Calvert-Lewin would get 3 goals in his last 4 games, and he'd be the talisman. Now, he wasn't the talisman in the traditional sense against Brighton, but he led the line. Yeah. He was the leader at the top end of the pitch.
First goal, give it to me, I'll sort this.
Yeah, I mean, early on when he obviously does that turn, and then he gets, I think it's Webster or Dunk gets booked with a little flick around the corner where he just clever little, he won everything in the air as he does, not only in the attacking, in the attacking third, but defensively. That near post position, he absolutely bosses it, doesn't he? Yeah. And you can't. When Morpie plays, he doesn't put him in that position, he puts someone else there. Yeah. So, it gives you so much. And look, I'm not as big a fan. You're even lower down the pecking order from a fan point of view. However, you can't, in this squad, he's head and shoulders above anything we've got.
He's the best striker we've got in the squad
by a mile.
And I do think there's very similar to what you said there, where the midfielders and the players in front of Mina are more relaxed. I think the players behind Lewin are more relaxed. We can maybe hit Lewin and get something, opposed to...
And the gambling, they're putting crosses in the box thinking he's going to be there. The gambling on flicks because you think he's going to win it. You can just be more decisive if you've got that belief that your teammate, whether he's a centre-back or a forward, will do a certain thing and do it really well. I think there's just so many more consistencies around the team. And look, let's not get carried away here, but there was just more players on the pitch that were winning those 1v1 battles. Yeah. Football is a game when you make it as simple as it is, which the top managers have an ability to do. It's about 10 1v1 battles, not including the goalkeeper, and we won most of those duels, and that's from a simple level, that was what it was about.
We're not going to do any negatives on this Brighton review. We can't talk about every player.
We didn't really touch on Patterson much there because you kind of.
I'm going to move on to a little bit. I'm just going to say I wanted to just give special mention, but before we speak about Dwight McNeil, I want to just give special mention to Patterson and Pickford. At different moments in the game, both really important. Patterson, the energy, it sort of matched what McNeil gives us on the right hand side. Now Coleman gives us that. He doesn't give us it over 90 minutes. Godfrey's a little bit of danger that should, but doesn't.
But he just,
Holgate's different again.
But Godfrey runs with no direction, he just runs.
Patterson is like, give me the ball and I'll run with the ball. Yeah. And then he got back in shape. And then some of Jordan Pickford saves.
Chases after the ball as well, doesn't he?
As Evertonians, we're used to Pickford doing that.
Yeah. No, look, again, you talk about fans of players. I'm not a big fan of Pickford. No, I don't underrate him. I just think that there's, in terms of an asset, I think he's a misused asset. I think we get the most out of a player like him. Like I was making a point the other day where Pickford will make 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 saves in games against like City, Arsenal, but we'll still lose the games. So it's like, what's the point? But in games like that, listen, they were vital saves, and it was great to see him again oozing confidence, but not going over the top with it. I don't know if that's something the managers told him about. Listen, don't forget about mouthing off and do your job, which he still does, but he hasn't done it as much, has he? Yeah. But when you're playing that well and you're making saves the way that he is, obviously a penalty save at Leicester was straight at him, but he's made that brave decision,
that.
exactly, to stand where he is. A few of the saves the other night, maybe didn't get us the 3 points because we obviously has a healthy cushion, but they helped him because if the team gets within one goal, the momentum shifts suddenly, but some of those saves were incredible. And again, it's still a 1v1 thing, isn't it? It's the shot. You've just got to keep it out. The job is simple for a goalkeeper, or more simple when it comes to shot stopping, but same could be said about Pato or Nathan Patterson. His job was to make sure Matoma, he wins the ball more often than Matoma goes past him. And there's only Aaron Wan-Bissaka this year who's managed to do that. He's done it in the cup final, and he's done it the other week when they played them at Brighton. No one else really has managed to contain him. He absolutely rinsed Trent, and I know he's not the only player to do that, but it was cringy. He's done it a couple of times this season.
Trent, yeah.
And I was worried about Patterson because when he has played, he spoke about the fact he gets on the overlap, he gives us something, his energy and whatever. He's not been that convincing defensively. He's not as powerful and strong as maybe Coleman is. Even Mykhalenko at times is a natural defender, isn't he? I was worried about that 1v1 duel, but there was only the one time where he got past him and Patterson just couldn't quite keep up with him. Apart from that, his decision making in terms of when to go tight, when to drop off, when to show him inside was spot on, and it was a performance beyond his years.
Long-time viewers of the podcast will know that me and Judgy have had somewhat indifferent opinions on Dwight McNeil. Judgy is a lot more of a patient supporter than I am. I didn't really rate the signing. This guy was telling me to calm down, give him a chance. He's young, it's a bigger club. I was probably quick on, he wasn't playing well to Frank Lampard again.
It's fair enough.
Despite the green, he was going, it's not his style. So I'll concede the argument as it stands. He's been in early May now. He's been one of our best signings, Dwight McNeil. And I want to point out if you recall when we beat Southampton away and he scored, his media after it was talking about how he struggles with self-confidence and he wants to get it back. After the Arsenal win at Goodison, again, he came out and said, I'm trying to get that confidence back. By God, it's back now.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to say I told you so, because no fan, regardless of how much you like or don't like Dwight McNeil or rate him, no fan could defend the performances. And, he's a professional footballer. He's got to be judged on merit. And he wasn't producing. There's no doubt about that. I also can't say, look, I was certain that it was going to come off for him. I think the performances were so dour and he was lacking in anything positive to cling on to. But
a different player now.
Yeah, it is. Listen, I think, confidence is a huge thing. Absolutely, not just for Dwight McNeil, for any player. And for the manager to believe in you is a start. I'm not saying Frank Lampard didn't believe in him because he played him. But there's playing someone and there's really believing in them. And as we pointed out since Dyche just come in, playing to his strengths and going, do what you do best. And at first, for Dyche, I think he probably recognised he's not that confident. So we clearly seen it was get the ball across. He hardly ever dribbled, did he, in his first? Dyche's fit, it was just get it across. And he almost got his confidence back by just doing positive things, winning a corner, the fans start, appreciating what you're doing. Yeah. So it was doing the simple things first. And once he started doing the simple things well, it was like, okay, well, I can add this bit and add this bit in. And it come together for him at the weekend, didn't he? He done everything that you want from a forward player.
I was watching him, and he's not blessed. I think he's actually said this. He wishes he had more pace. He's not blessed with pace, but he's running away.
But he moves quickly with the ball, doesn't he?
How are you not quick, but you're still in the yard like that?
I know. I mean, one of my colleagues who's a Burnley season ticket holder said that to me, and he said, because I said to him, he's not quick, is he? And he said, no, but he is. He can travel quickly with the ball. He doesn't. He said what it is he doesn't get any faster, but he starts fast. So he almost like, as soon as he starts travelling with the ball, he's moving. So he gets a bit of a 3 or 4 yards head start, and then that's enough then to kind of keep it going. But yeah, listen, his performance was nothing short of outstanding. He could or should have had a hat-trick. That one where he comes inside, he kind of puts it onto his left foot, and I think it's Webster blocks it with his feet. He's done everything right there. So I just think his decision-making, for me, is one of the most encouraging things for a forward player. He's taking the right decision on when to shoot, when to pass. But look, I think the one thing to temper it with, and this is another thing that come from my colleague in work, he said, look, you're not going to get that every week, but for us as Burnley fans, if he performed like that, 1 in every 3 games, that's more than most players are doing. And if you look at that ratio now of goal contributions to appearances, it's 1 in 3 now. So it's like 10 goals to 31 1 appearances, which,
goal
you know,
contributions,
considering how low he was, I think since Dyche's coming out to 12 games, it's 6 or 7 goal contributions. So he has massively, you know, ramped it up in that respect. So made up for him. I'm not going to claim credit. You know, fair play to you to mentioning that I did say.
Before you got
I think he could be a good signing, but yeah, good for him.
I think the result for me, I was speaking to a lad in work. I likened it to being on a sinking ship and then someone goes, "We found some lifeboats." That is the biggest lifeline that we've give ourselves, that bonus 3 points, bonus performance. And I think the little things that we might not think about at first, but now with 3 or 4 days removed, it'll put the shit up everyone around us, that. And everyone's now thinking, like, how do we now go into our games? Because we never expected that on our internal boards. What's it done for you, that result?
I think you're right. It's a statement, isn't it? You talk. I mean, if that was a Man United or a Man City or a Newcastle, they'd be saying that's a statement. That the rest of the Premier League, you put them on notice. Beating Brighton 5-1 at Brighton. I mean, any team in the Premier League would have been buzzing with that result and would have also been saying, "Look, that's a statement." So I think you're right. Psychologically, over the other teams, it's thinking, you know, they could easily go and win. You know, comfortably win 2 out of the last 3 games. Therefore, we now need 3 wins. Where are we getting 3 wins from? So, you know, to the Leeds and Leicester's, particularly given Leicester, you know, whose performances and results just seem to be getting worse. Under Dean Smith, never mind, you know, better.
I thought they'd be all right, you know, but they seem to me like they just seem to be a little bit cast adrift now. It's not really about them.
I just think it's a strange appointment, wasn't it? Dean Smith, you know, given the last 2 jobs he's done, it was a bizarre appointment, and now it's looking even worse for him because he's very much like not a gung-ho manager, but under Brentford, when he was Brentford manager, which was probably his best spell. In fact, it was his best spell. Villa, he was just literally, let's go for it. You know, let's just go and I give me players freedom. We go and attack the other team. We play the Leicester players have naturally got that. They didn't need that. They needed someone to go, hold on, well, let's keep teams out. Let's hit them on the break.
1-0,
If you look at that team, and we spoke about it so many times, look how much talent's in there. They're just perfect. Let's sit behind the ball, like be a Palace. Go and just have your 3 quick, And Allardyce would
2 months, 3 months.
Allardyce would have sorted them out, no problem. And you know, so the appointments and every team's rolled the dice down there, haven't they? And they've made the poorest decision out of all of them in terms of the manager they brought in. Before
we look ahead to City, couple of interesting news items in the week. Only rumours, but I think we'll talk about it. The first one is there was rumours that Everton made a pounce for James Milner. They wanted to give James Milner a deal. Do you think there was anything in that, or just? I wouldn't be surprised. I think Dyche probably looks around at that team and thinks a bit more experience in there could go a long way. Do you know what I mean? And listen, well, sitting over a coffee, going Milner for the year. Well, the next one was even more unrealistic, but I don't know. It just didn't strike me as anything in it, but I know we've had some socials and stuff, so. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's not happening. He's going to Brighton. Yeah, no, the story was that we tried. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't think we know enough about. I don't think it would be a Thelwell one. I think it would have been a Dyche going, look, if we can get him on a decent wage, I think he could do a job for us for a year. I think he could help stabilise us and this, that and the other. You know, he's got a wealth of experience. He can play in different positions. The versatility would have been something that would have been attractive. 38-year-old versatile. Yeah, I know. Listen, mate. I mean, I said as I said to you, Coleman would have been turning this grave, wouldn't he? I mean, you're trying to put me out to pasture, and you signed a 38-year-old cop-out at the same time. The other one was a little bit of a less credible source, but because of who it was, it lit up the socials. Who was it? I was looking. It was a journalist who didn't have that many sort of credible history articles, if you will. I was flicking through our Twitter and I stopped at a picture of James Rodriguez and it said Everton, Crystal Palace and Bournemouth perhaps. I was looking at the possibility of asking James Rodriguez and I thought, you know what, if you think I'm going to fucking forgive the mess that paying that fella has caused us just by bringing him back, you're absolutely right. Come home, sweet prince. And I got a bit like, I'd love to see James Rodriguez. It's not going to happen, but did you look at that one and think, where's... I only looked at it because you sent it to me. I was giddy. The only person who looked at that much nonsense on Twitter. But yeah,
I think that's
I can't see Dyche is not going to have James Rodriguez.
Far less likely, I think, than the former, and even the former was unlikely. Yeah, look, we'll always look back with regret that, and the Reds obviously take the piss out of us for it, that we never got the chance to see James Rodriguez in the flesh, and considering what he produced for that short period. But there's also a large degree that he was managed very well by Ancelotti. He always built a team around him, didn't he? To take care of him.
Yeah.
To go look.
Decore babysat him, didn't he? Just sat behind him.
So, they had to play Alan and Decore just to make up for James Rodriguez's lack of mobility.
Sigurdsson was there, and Richarlison was moved out. It was all just let James Rodriguez do what he
just give him the ball, and he was good for it, wasn't he? But I know since he's had his penis and his testicles removed and all the other stuff, there's rumour to have gone on.
Then he came out in Finch Farm. If you remember the next day after that rumour,
he had
the biggest bulge.
Yeah. Literally had a sock down there. And just went to the butcher's and got a sausage and put it in his pants.
I'd be very shocked if James Milner and James Rodriguez end up Everton, but we've had a little bit of socials on there. So looking ahead to City, despite how well we played on Monday, I think it's probably, despite City only drawing 1-1, which is a bad result for City against Real Madrid. They would have wanted to go into good, so maybe want to put Arsenal a bit to the sword. They now maybe cannot rest. Or I don't know.
I mean,
it can work both
ways. It's not. You can't call it rest for City, can you?
City wouldn't want to rest players, but they may now have to against Everton. I still think it's about too far. But...
No, I do think that we'll see, and this is the joke about it. We'll see Foden, we'll see Mahrez, we'll see Alvarez, Soz.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like those three players walk into any team in the Premier League without doubt. I think you'll still see Haaland. But
on the bench with De Bruyne.
No, I think Haaland will still be in the team, but he'll play Alvarez. He has played Alvarez and Haaland together before, but I think both. I think Haaland will then be brought off after an hour probably. So
I think that it was not a City podcast, but that will be. I think that will be in Pep Guardiola's head. Like we always just get pipped. Like I'm not risking this, and it's Carlo. I might put Haaland on the bench, De Bruyne and Haaland on the bench.
De Bruyne, yeah. Listen, those three come in. If Mahrez, Foden, and Alvarez come in, De Bruyne will most likely, be rested. It'll be De Bruyne, probably Bernardo Silva and Grealish to come out. Which you're coming in with three fresh forward-thinking players. Then I think he may even give Calvin Phillips a game. In Rodri's position.
He's on the bench, wasn't he, in the week?
He may do that, although he hasn't had many minutes. But I think we'll see 4 changes at least. It might be Kyle Walker, who has a tough night chasing after Vinicius. It might be him who comes out for maybe, I don't know who else they can play it right back.
The young kid out and you can play full back.
Yeah, Lewis, he'll come in. So, they're your 4 or 5 changes, but it's not making him any weaker. Certainly, Mahrez, has played in some of the biggest games this season. Foden is outstanding. Alvarez is not only a World Cup winner, but he's been one of their brighter forwards in the last couple of months. So I don't think it makes them any weaker at Goodison. I do think we can get a point against them. I do. I think they haven't been that convincing away from home. I've seen them a few times this year. They find a way to win. And I think a 1-goal margin or 2-goal margin to City is very likely. But I can still see us getting to 60 minutes.
Leeds pulled one back last Saturday and then went for it.
That's it. If you keep them within a goal, which, it is no shame at all. If you keep them with a goal, and I think Dyche will be saying that to the players, they might fly out the traps, they might get an early goal. Keep them within a goal or 2 when we've always got a chance of closing that gap. And if we lose the game 2-0, it's not killing our goal difference. It's not, it's not a point we'd have expected to pick up. I think he'll be saying, let's weather the huge storm, onslaught, possession, wait for our chance to get a bit of, an opportunity. Hopefully we take our chance if we get it. But, this is massively about, now that we've got 3 points at Brighton, this fixture is down as a bit of a free hit, isn't it?
Well, now I'm looking at it a different way, so I'll come at you with a question from a different angle. Now we've got those 3 points, and maybe internally they were bonus 3 points, or 3 points at Brighton I'm talking about. Can a manager now afford to go into this with maybe a back 5 and say we can actually bore the crap out of this and try and get a point? Maybe if we only got a point to Brighton, we would have had to play our game and try and score first. But now I can bring Michael Keane in and keep Yerry Mina and keep Tarkowski in and try and bore the crap out of it. And I'll go back to the Brighton game for the Wolves game. Do you think that that could happen? Or?
Possibly, but I don't think playing a back 5 against City is the best idea. their movements and their fluidity and their attacking threat mainly come, and obviously not the goal threat because you've got Haaland. You've got 2 centre-backs, like, you know, one of his man marks him, the other one covers.
We got a point on New Year's Eve, didn't we, playing 5 at the back?
We did.
But and Godfrey was all over Haaland, wasn't he, and really frustrated him.
Yeah, listen, I wouldn't be surprised, but I also don't think it's necessarily a blueprint that you've got to play 5 at the back. If anything, you just got to have more players, more bodies in that central third of the pitch, which we've done well enough against Brighton. Listen, I don't think we can go far wrong with playing exactly the same way we did against Brighton. But I get what you're saying. Do you roll out them 11 players again and risk maybe 1 or 2 of them getting injured and then being, you know...
The games where you need 4 or 6 points from now.
Yeah, like, you know, because really, you'd almost want to go, right, give them the 3 points, 2-0 win, sound. Let's get all our players into that Wolves game and just get the 3 points there.
Yeah.
So it's a dilemma. I mean, I think the manager will just be like, look, we've got 3 games to go, 3 cup finals, that old cliche. Don't give us 3 strong 90 minutes performances and I'm confident that we'll get at least 4 points out of those 3 games, which I think should be enough.
The fixtures this weekend.
All the teams have got.
You see no one getting
unwinnable. Yeah, they're all. There's a very good chance that all 6 teams or 5 or 6 teams down there get no points this weekend, which is fine. No points in every game.
Deal. Let's go.
Let's keep going and just lose it. Everyone loses every game.
I just want to get into that last week of the season, out the relegation zone, and playing teams who I just hope just don't give a crap about. They just want to. Well, no, I want to get to that last game and not having to do anything. That's what I mean. And you get there by going to beat Wolves.
That's it. Yeah. Wolves is the game now, isn't it? I mean, every game is the game until that game's gone, isn't it? So Wolves, you know, win that game. Look, the City one.
It's nice to go into this one. Like you called it a free hit there, and I've sort of agreed by saying I think the manager can now play a different way because of Brighton. The danger is if other teams do get unlikely points around us, but I feel a lot better going into this game now. The run and missing. This was the game I was thinking goal difference. And
the games against the top sides at Goodison. Over the last 3 seasons, we've generally done. I mean, forever we've generally done well. We've had the odd Tonkin, but generally against the top sides at Goodison, they don't relish coming to Goodison. Most teams.
We always do Chelsea. Yeah. We always do Arsenal.
Yeah, exactly. And we've had some good results against City, not necessarily in the last 5 years, but
City snuck one last year with the Rodri ball.
Yeah,
they snuck one.
That's what I mean. So we've had some very close games with them. We've beat them on occasion, again, not necessarily in the last 5 years, but before that. As you say, the Arsenals, the Chelseas, Man Uniteds, we always give a good account of ourselves, and they don't generally like coming to Goodison. And there's not many grounds like Goodison, and that's you know, we'll come on to that on another day, about the long-term thing of losing Goodison. Is it going to be like that? Teams saying up, wow, what lovely stadium. It's a nice experience. Goodison's not nice, is it? Not nice.
It's not nice for us sometimes.
No. But that's another one. I think it's going to be a positive atmosphere. There's no doubt about that. There's not going to be a thread of negativity before that ball's kicked. And even, provided they're not 8-0 up at some point or whatever, I can't see how our fans in this game, unlike other games, turn against the players or anything like that.
And that's why I'm saying that lifeline that Brighton is, what that has done is everything. Like, the fans are going to go into the City game and, you know, obviously everyone's going to be pumped up for it, but I don't think there's going to be a genuine fear. No. Because if we were 19th still, and we're going into City going, just don't score more than 3, because you're going to kill us if it goes to goal difference. And I think the atmosphere will be better because of that. What would be your prediction?
0-0. We can't ever predict a loss, can we? I've obviously said in my little monologue there that, you know, I'm expecting, or wouldn't be surprised, 1-0, you know, 1 or 2 goal. But I think a 0-0 is, that'd be a great point for us. It would
Spirit to the Blues at the end.
Unbelievable point for us. For the rest of the Premier League, it'd make the title race interesting again, hopefully. But for us, a 0-0 would be an incredible result to keep a clean sheet against Man City. I was going to say 1-1, but I don't know. I just feel like I have to get in front. They're just such a hard team to beat.
Yeah, no, I will agree with you. I'll go 0-0. Look, a lot of my heart is talking, because it's Everton, and if it was another team, I wouldn't be saying it.
Yeah.
But if I take my heart away from it, I think there's a potential for a long afternoon for Everton. It's going to have to be, we're going to have to get it right.
There's potential for a long afternoon for City for different reasons, in terms of us.
I want it to be pissing down.
Yeah.
Dark, horrible.
Yeah, that's it.
the sirens on.
Yeah,
I don't want a nice
balls
sunny
like
afternoon.
just getting away from them and stuff. No, a nice sunny.
Rodri's like that.
Yeah. Cigar out.
Yeah, I don't want that. I want it to be audible. I want Goodison to be audible. And if we get a point, absolutely massive. Anyone who follows us on the social media, which is Across the Park PC, on Twitter and Instagram, they'll see that we've been doing a couple of different things. The first one I want to talk about, Mick Rathbone, head of medicine from 2002 to 2010. He done a podcast with us in lockdown when we were the old Across the Park podcast. We didn't do video. One of the most commented on, great feedback because he's such a funny guy and tells it as it is. So we asked him to come back on, and he did. That's over on the YouTube channel. Some unbelievable. It was just me who done it. I've told Judgy, he's just so funny.
Yeah,
like, I was asking him outright questions, and like he'd go into like this. I don't know. He could do stand up. You know?
Yeah.
And you've seen a few clips.
It's like a pub conversation, isn't it? Like literally.
Top guy.
Yeah.
An hour 20 he give us.
Yeah, just such a likable guy, and as you say, so many stories. Some of them made up, as I've seen with the reel on Instagram. But yeah, you sit there listening to him, and I've become a big fan because I do a lot of driving now of like audio books, and I'm not sure if any of it is available on audio. I hope it is, because I'd love to listen to the stories. I think it's so much more.
I've read both books, so I don't know if they are.
Yeah.
We did tell Baz that we'd plug it again. So it's The Smell of Football 2.co.uk. That's the second book. The first one, he's sold out. You're going to have to go to eBay or Amazon and find it. Both great reads. Stories that we spoke about were, you know, Ferguson, how Ferguson was to manage from the physio room, how Louis Saha had to be managed, how mad Tommy Gravison was, all great stories. And again, if you're following us on the socials, you'd have seen we've put some stuff up. Judgy is now moonlighting over at the Leggett podcast, the sports podcast, aren't you?
The sports
podcast. Over there?
Yeah. I mean, Andy's been a good friend of the show since we started. We actually started before him, giving some advice to set up his podcast. It's the Leggett podcast, which most of you will have heard of. Andy Grant's a bit of a local celebrity in Liverpool. He does
boss lad as well.
Does a lot of motivational talks, which has got a long story behind. But yeah, good lad. He's a Liverpudlian, so he asked me to come on a few weeks ago, and we got on really well on the podcast, and it worked really well. As it did for us when it was a red and a blue. You'd have that across the table banter, and he's asked me to join them on a weekly basis, which I'm happy to do. And so yeah, check them out. It's the Leggett Sportscast. There'll be plenty of links between us and Andy and that podcast going forward. So yeah, good stuff.
Got a couple more plans. Obviously, the way the season finishes will impact on what we do in the summer. We do tend to take a break in the summer because there's not much to talk about in the early pre-season. If something breaks, which it has done in the past, we'll get together and have a pint and talk about it. But the weekly content will probably dwindle down in the summer. We've got a couple of unique podcasts coming up with different things around the city, not necessarily football. So keep your eye out, and if anything like that piques your interest, share it to whoever. We're going to try and do a few different things. I think Judgy's going to sit down with someone very, very shortly, which will be an interesting podcast, not football related. So we hope that you take something from that. In the meantime, if anyone watching, leave the comments, let us know what you think. We love going on our YouTube app and seeing comments. We do try and reply to them. Please like and subscribe. That's the biggest thing I can say. Those likes and those subscriptions really help us. Not so much from a financial point, but what we can do with the channel, what we can actually do and edit and tweak and make things, possibly 4K one day and stuff, because no 4K is a thing, but we need an audience for that. So if you enjoy the content and you're new to it, please like, share and subscribe. As always, thanks for watching Across the Park podcast. Up the Toffees.